Hello and welcome to my channel. So it is time for me to go through all of the books that I hauled in May, and I think in my April haul I had maybe 8 books. I can't remember. I had a significant number of books, and I said this is not the norm. Well, I actually have more this month, so I have 12 books. So I will say that a lot of these are secondhand or from the free little library / book box that I have in my local area. So I actually haven't spent that much money on books this month. I've just been very lucky with charity shop, so I thought I would go through them, and they're in no particular order. I think they're kind of in the order that I picked them up, but yeah, I'm just going to go through them. So the first one is Books and Bewitchment by Isla Jewell, and this is about a woman who inherits a bookshop from her grandmother, and then there is like a handyman that comes to help with turning this into the bookstore that she wants. It's got magic in it, it's a romance. I mostly picked it up, really drew me in, and it sounded really cute. So yeah, I got this from Sainsbury's. This is the only book that I've actually bought new, and so yeah, that's the first one. Then I picked up The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, and this is the first volume in the Stormlight archive, and I have only very recently started my Brandon Sanderson journey. So I have read the first era Cosmere, so that's like the Mistborn trilogy, and I wanted to start reading more Brandon Sanderson, and I saw this in a charity shop for $1.99, and I really like the cover of this. It's absolutely massive. I don't know exactly what this one is about, climbing on the pile of books next to me. So yes, I don't know exactly what this one is about, so I'm just going to read the synopsis on the back. So it says, "Speak again the ancient oaths, life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination, and return to men the shard they once bore. The night's radiant must stand again." Roshar is a world of stone and storms. Its terrifying and frequent tempests have shaped ecology and civilization alike. It has been centuries since the fall of the Knights Radiant, but their shard blades and shard plate remain. Mystical arms and armor that transform men into near invincible warriors. Men trade kingdoms for shard blades. Wars are fought for them and won by them. And now one such war, fought across the shadowed plains, is about to swallow up a soldier, a bright lord, and a young woman scholar. So yeah, that sounds really interesting. I am looking forward to getting into. I really like Brandon Sanderson's writing style, and I want to give it a go. I then got The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman, and this is the second book in his Dark Materials trilogy, and again I picked this up in a charity shop for $1.99. I had the first and the third book, and not only that, but in this edition, the cover, and I was on the hunt for this one, and this was the one that I could never find. I could find the third one loads, and so when I finally saw this, I had to pick it up. So yeah, this is the second book in his Dark Materials series, so this continues on, and I haven't read the back of it. So yeah, I really enjoyed the first one. This is a series that was around when I was younger, but it kind of just passed me by, and I just really wanted to give it a go. I think I found the first one in the book box, and I was like, oh, I'll give this a go, because I'd never actually got a chance to read it. I really enjoyed it. I thought Lyra was such an amazing character. The story was really interesting, so I want to continue the series. Talking of the book box, it was giving some really good books over the last few weeks, so I picked up a few from there, and I will definitely be putting probably most of these back once I've read them. And then also I do have some books that I'll be unhauling, so they will also be going in the box, but it's only a small box, so I can't put a large amount in there at a time, so I only usually take 1 or 2 with me and put them in there. But the first one I picked up was Nudes by Saba, and this is short stories, and it's like 10 stories, and it's like diving into like girlhood and just about growing up and being a woman. And yeah, I'll just read the synopsis of this one. In 10 dazzling stories, Saba Sams dives into the world of girlhood and immerses us in its contradictions and complexities, threading between clubs at closing time, pub toilets, drenched music festivals and beach holidays. These unforgettable short stories deftly chart the treacherous terrain of growing up, of intense friendships, of ambivalent mothers, of uneasy blended families, and learning to truly live in your own body. And I just thought that sounded really interesting. It is a little bit outside of what I usually read, but because it is quite short, it's a short story, I thought that I would give it a go and see what it's about, because it says that it was shortlisted for the White Review Short Story Prize and the Edge Hill Short Story Prize, so it seems like it's really, really good. And yeah, I just thought I'll give this a go, and then because it's from the book box, if I'm not enjoying it or I'm not that bothered about it, it can just go straight back in there. But yeah, sounded interesting. I then picked up Wolf in White Van by John Darnielle, again from the book box, and this seems to be like a gaming kind of book. So it looks like it's a game of strategy and survival, and there's like an adventure game, and then it becomes real, I think. The synopsis of this one is: Sean Phillip's life has been solitary ever since a terrible event left him disfigured when he was only 17. These days, Sean spends his time moderating Trace Italian, an adventure game that strands its players in an apocalyptic America where they must make their way to safety across an irradiated landscape, decision by difficult decision. But when a pair of teenage sweethearts tries to seek the trace in the real world, their actions prove fatal, and Sean finds himself confronted with the dangers of his creation and its origins in his own troubled past. So again, this is quite a short little book, and it's just not something that I usually see in our book box. A lot of it tends to be a lot of romance, things like that. So when I saw this, I thought that sounds really interesting, so I'll give that a go. And again, quite short and interesting. Another one that's a little bit out of my sort of usual reading is Mongrel by Hanako Footman, and it's 3 different narratives, and it's 3 different people in sort of like the Japanese and their sort of lives and things like that. And I'm sure I've seen this about, and I just thought it sounded really interesting and just not something that I would usually pick up, but I'm really trying to broaden the type of books that I read, so I thought this one would be a good one to try. But yes, there's three different perspectives in this. Dottie's on a mad one, so I do apologise. So yeah, and again set in Japan and like Tokyo. So then the synopsis of this is: shifting between 3 narratives, Mongrel reveals a tangled web of desire, isolation, belonging, and ultimately hope. Me loses her Japanese mother at age 6. Growing up in a suburban Surrey, she suppresses not only her heritage but her growing desire for her best friend Fran. Yuki escapes the Japanese countryside to pursue her dream of becoming a concert violinist in London. Far from home, she finds herself caught up in the charm of her older teacher. Haruka attempts to navigate Tokyo's nightlife and its vices, working as a hostess in the city's sex district. She grieves a mother who hid so many secrets from her, until finally one of those secrets comes to life. So okay, they're not set in Japan, but they are about Japanese women. So that, yeah, as I said, it just sounded really interesting, and it's just not something I would normally pick up. So I want to broaden my horizons, and I said I saw this in the book box. So if it's personally not for me, then it will just go straight back anyway. I then actually won a book in an Instagram giveaway. So I was very, very lucky to win River of Stars by Gergina Moore. So yeah, I entered a giveaway on Instagram and I wasn't expecting to win, and I very luckily did. So this is sort of set on an island, and again there's 3 perspectives, and it's like this island is about, like, it has lots of rock stars there and music and romance, and there's three perspectives, and then three female perspectives, and then there's a new owner of the island that's coming to there's a new owner of the island, and it's just, will he change things up? And I do believe that there's going to be some romance in this. So the synopsis of this one is: three women with lives entwined on an island that once served as a haven for rock stars, music and romance. Artist Jo feels life is passing her by, but when her first love unexpectedly returns to Walnut Tree Island, can she set aside her past hurts and wounded pride for a second chance at love? Mary, Jo's grandmother, fell hard for a rock star in a whirlwind romance in the 1960s when she was just 16. Now she clings to those precious memories and keeps a secret close, fearing she may lose them forever. Sophie is married to a man at the heart of island life who wants her to settle down and have his babies, so why does she still yearn for her old life in the vibrant world of Soho, torn between love and ambition? And onto its bohemian community steps Oliver Greenwood, the new owner of the island, igniting gossip and speculation. Will he preserve the island's rich legacy, or is he about to change paradise forever? I just want to show this because it's absolutely stunning. So I love the cover, that the cover has artwork like that, and then the little information on the Polaroids are the quotes from other people that have read the book. So yeah, I was very lucky to win that giveaway, so I'm looking forward to getting into that. And then on Sunday I went to a charity shop that I'd never been to before, and they had books for 75p, so I picked up a couple, and so I'll just go through them. So the first one is And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. Not only is the cover gorgeous anyway, but it's also the sprayed edge version, which I believe is from the work. Now, I did ARC read this, so I have read it but on my Kindle, but I couldn't resist picking this up. So this is the second book in the Heartstrings series, and this one is about, they're like weather people, and they end up going to cover this massive storm that's happening, and they kind of don't particularly like each other, but they end up having to share a room. So Jackson Clark's life is neat, predictable, and viewed from the comfort of his radio booth. Delilah Stewart prefers her life wild, spontaneous, and out in the field in the eye of the storm. For years the two have clashed like thunder and lightning until they're paired up against their will to cover the snowstorm of the century. Eager to be taken seriously as a journalist, Delilah offers Jackson a deal. If he can help her ace this assignment, she'll help him recover his long-lost fun side. But when other feelings start to enter the equation, can Jackson and Delilah withstand the storm? Or does what happened in the mountains stay in the mountains? So yes, I really enjoyed this when I read it, and I just thought it'd be really nice to have a shelf copy, and for 75p I couldn't resist. I then picked up, so this is a series that I've wanted to read for a while, and it's the Inheritance Cycle. So I will just quickly show you these. So I saw that they had the second, third and fourth book in the series, which is Eldest, Brisinger and Inheritance, but they didn't have the first book, Eragon. I did ask them, I said, by any chance, do you happen to have it? Because sometimes they don't put everything out. But unfortunately, they said they did have it, but it was in a really bad shape. And so they weren't going to sell it, but they would offer it to whoever picked up the series. And I was like, brilliant, I'm so happy about that. And then she checked in the back and she couldn't find it, and she said that unfortunately someone else must have thrown it away, thinking that it couldn't be sold. So because they were only 75p each, I did decide that I would just pick them up anyway and get a copy of Eragon somewhere else, because I feel like I see it pretty regularly, and if not, then even if I end up picking it up full price, the fact that I've spent 75p on the rest of these is kind of worth it. And I love the covers of these, so I'll just quickly show you them. So Eldest, they just feel so nostalgic. Then we've got Brisinger, And then we have Inheritance. And they are huge books. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting into these. And I will be on the hunt for the first one, Aragon. I'm pretty sure it's Aragon. And then the final book that I picked up is A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. So this is the second book in the Song of Ice and Fire series. I did get the first book of this a few months ago, and I did read this, but I listened to the audiobook of definitely the first one, but I'm not sure if I ever got to the second one. But it was a very, very, very long time ago. I think it was when the series first came out. I was like, no, I don't want to watch the series. I want to read the books first. And ended up listening to the audiobook, but I really struggled to actually retain any of the information. I'm not the biggest audiobook listener because I find I just tune out. So I've decided I want to read them physically. So when I saw this in there, I picked it up. The only thing is, this does not match the cover of the first one, and I guess it doesn't matter too much because I think they're the same height, so it doesn't bother me. But it's going to be a higgledy-piggledy series, and I feel like these are ones that I see in charity shops all the time, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to collect the rest of them. But yes, I'm looking forward to it. And again, another huge book. So that is all the books that I've hauled in May, and I will say this is very unusual for me to have so many books, but I think it's just because 75p books, how could I not pick up quite a few? I did also see a few others in that charity shop, but they were like later in series books, and it was just a little bit annoying. But I'm going to now attempt to hold this up for you to see all of the books that I have hauled. So let's see how we get on. Am I even going to get them all in the shop? That is the question. So these are all the books that I have hauled this month. So please, please do let me know if you have read any of these books, if there's any that you would absolutely recommend, and any that I should prioritise and bump up the TBR. If you have any recommendations on where I can get Aragon in that same cover, because I had a look on Amazon, but it looks to be a newer cover. I looked, and it's possible I could get it from Waterstone, so I might have a look in there when I'm next in town, but I would really like to get the same design, so I'm on the hunt for that. But yes, please do let me know if there are any books in this stack you think I should prioritize, any that you've read, what your thoughts are. Then please do like, subscribe and comment down below. And yes, thank you so much for watching.